Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will be building a HTTP server for a coffee shop using Go, basically making use of Gin server. So yeah, let's dive deep into it and let's see like how we can implement it. So basically, what will be the endpoints? I'll basically be creating just three endpoints. One is order for you to place an order to the coffee, and one will be for menu to retrieve the menu of the coffee shop, and the other one is to check status of your order. So even when you go to a normal shop, a coffee shop, these are the three things which you basically do. First, check the menu, and then place the order and ask for the status of the order. So we'll just be doing that, and we will be making use of Gin framework to achieve this. Why gin? Because I did some research and figured out that it is widely used in production currently. And we also have some emerging frameworks like Echo and Fiber that is picking up pace. But gin is currently most widely used. And I also looked into Gorilla Mux, which is sort of archived now, so there is no point doing that. So yeah, let's write this API endpoints and learn how we can create a HTTP server using Go. So yeah, build a coffee shop HTTP server. First, we'll define a struct. So type coffee struct, and this struct will include ID, which is a unique ID for each coffee, and name of the coffee, and then price of the coffee. As simple as that. And this is how you basically define a struct in Go. And you might be wondering, what is this? This is basically used to state like what how it is called in the JSON that you are defining or retrieving. In the JSON that you will be retrieving or defining, it will be called ID, name, and price. So if you can see here price is capital, P is capital, but here in the JSON the price is P is small. So to map the difference, we define this JSON to map it correctly. And yeah, now let's also create a structure for order struct. Okay, so what are we doing here? This is again very simple. Like for each order that you place, you need a unique order ID, which will be a string, and then which coffee are you ordering, so that coffee ID also should be mentioned. And what is the status? Is it currently in brewing state, or is the coffee already ready, or is it already delivered? To know that, we will also have like a status field for order, and what time did you place the order, so that also we will be recording. Now let's go ahead and create a coffee menu. So yeah, so this is, what is this? This is like a slice of structure. So what does each structure consist of? Each structure consists of a coffee. So coffee consists of ID, name, and price. So our first coffee is cafe latte. ID is 1 and price is 3.50. Like that, we have four different coffees in our menu, and it is of the type structure. Okay, now, yeah, we also need a map of key string and value order. So what does this do? So we need to map all the orders, so basically with order ID and the struct order. So basically whenever you place a order, you need to generate a new order ID, and then that order should consist of all these details, like the coffee which you ordered, the status, and order time. So that's why we are creating this struct, which is mapping unique order ID to the order structure. And why do we need this mutex? Because this order is a global variable, we need a mutex to make it thread safe. Now let's create a main function. and then our gin.default. So as I mentioned, we will be using gin framework to create this HTTP server. So in gin, this is how we initialize it, gin.default. So when we do gin.default, it will initialize two things. So basically you will get logging functionality. So automatically, like whatever endpoints you call, and if there is any error, the logging will be automatically done. You don't have to worry about it. And then if there is any server crash or something, recovery also will be done. Basically it won't crash the server, it will basically return some error code specific to it. So if you do gin.default, it will handle these two functionality. One is logging and one is like recovery. So these two functionalities will be default handled. That's why you initialize it with gin.default. Now let's write our endpoints. Yeah, so this is one of the endpoint. Let me write all the endpoints so that I can explain later. Yeah, so these are all the endpoints that we have. One is menu. To get the coffee menu, the handler will be get coffee menu. That handler will write later. And the other API endpoint will be post, because we'll be creating a new order. So that will be of type post, and handler will be create order. And then one more to retrieve the status of the order. So it will have slash order slash order id, the order id for which you need to retrieve the status. That will be a get call and get order status. So I hope you understand like different HTTP methods like get, post, put, delete. If not, like revise the basics of it. Basically in this I'm using only get and post. Get is used to like receive some data from the server. Post is used to like sort of create the data. And we have created the gin and you run it in localhost 8080. That's why you make use of r.run. Yeah, I think that's it, right? Retrieve the menu, place the order, get the status of the order. Yeah, pretty much. Now get coffee menu will write. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's it. So basically get coffee menu is a very simple handler. So every handler engine takes this gin.context. So what is gin.context? So gin.context consists of lot of helper methods. So instead of like for example this c.indented JSON. So this method is used to directly return a JSON, and that JSON will consist of like the return code, like status okay means 200 it will return, and then it will return a JSON of this coffee menu. Of this menu it will return it in the JSON format. So this is one of the function. Like this gin.context consists of multiple functions which you can directly make use of. That's why whenever we create a handler, we input this context so that we can directly make use of its methods. And then yeah, create. Okay, let me write this function and then I'll explain what is happening here. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so I hope you understood this function. This is c.indented JSON means it basically returns a JSON with the status and coffee menu. That was get coffee. Now we had one more endpoint, post endpoint order. So how are we doing this? Again, we first input gin context which has a lot of pre-built methods, and we have this order which is like a structure. So we are just instantiating one new structure here, order, because we need to create it. And then c.bind JSON, we are passing this new order. So basically when you're calling this endpoint, right, like when you do slash order post request, in that request you will be passing a JSON which consists of coffee ID for which coffee you're ordering. That information will be there in that JSON. So That information will record it in this order structure by passing it into c.bind JSON. And in this if condition, we are checking for an error. If error is present, as error is not equal to null, if error is present, you return a error. So basically indent JSON, as I mentioned, it will return a JSON. So here we are returning HTTP status bad requests, and then some JSON with error invalid request. Now, if whatever JSON you are passing in the endpoint, you pass coffee ID, right? So coffee ID should be between 1 and len of coffee menu. So what I mean by that? So if you see here, there can be ID is just 1, 2, 3, 4. If you pass ID as some 6 or 7, there is no coffee associated with it. So in that case also you need to return like error. So that's what we are doing in this if condition. If everything is fine, you ordered the right coffee, then we need to create a order. So create a unique order ID. So whenever you create a new order, we need to create new order ID. So for that we make use of uuid method, which I have not yet inputted, but I will show you. It is one of the functionalities that is developed by Google. It will generate like a new uuid for each order. And then order id, yeah, just add that order id in this structure. Status, initially the status of the coffee should be pending, so initialize it with that. Order that, use time.now method to get the current timestamp and put it in the order that value. Now here is the interesting part. As I mentioned, I created a orders map here, right? Basically an hash map which maps each order ID to the order structure. So this whatever order you created here has to be appended to this map. And since this map is like a global variable, we need to do it inside a mutex lock, so that if there is concurrent, if you are placing, if there are multiple customers placing multiple orders, it shouldn't like sort of there shouldn't be any like concurrency issues. That's why you use mutex lock to update this order map. And then, as you know, we don't have an actual coffee shop, so we are basically like we need to simulate this process of ordering. So what I am basically doing is I will simulate it using a go routine. So I'll spawn this go routine called simulate order processing, which takes order for from different stages, from pending to brewing to ready to deliver. It will just simulate that process, since we don't have an actual coffee shop. So, and I'm making use of go routine to do this task. And if everything goes well, we just return a JSON status, HTTP status created. I think it's 201, the code for that. And then we return a JSON with the all the order details which we created. Okay, now get order status. Okay, let me complete this. Okay, so what is happening in get order status? This, what does this do? So basically if you give the order ID, it will return you that structure, order structure, which basically consists of all this information. So what we are doing here, again context we have in the parameter, and c.param order id. So the URL here will consist of order id, right? You would do slash order slash order id. So this c.param is you, it will parse that URL and extract this order id field. So that's the main thing of this context. It has all the pre-built methods which you can use. So you just use c.param, you will get order id. Then you need to retrieve the structure associated with that order id, and it's a global variable, that orders map. So again use a mutex and retrieve that order structure specific to that. And then if the order id is not present in the map, again return status not found. If it is present, return status okay and return that JSON. Okay, now we just have to do the simulate order processing. Simulate. No, this is not how we simulate. We need to go through the coffee. No, we need to go through the order status, and then we need to simulate it. So stages, yeah, stages are pending, brewing. Pending is already initialized, so I think we can go from brewing ready delivered, and then sleep for, like, let's say 5 seconds or something for each stage, and then I don't think I need a main here. Yeah, so now let's see what is happening. As I mentioned, we are calling this go routine. Where are we calling it? Here in the create order, to process, to basically simulate different stages. So I have different stages: brewing, ready, delivered. It was initially at the pending stage. I have initialized it here at the pending stage. Yeah, pending. Now we have to go through brewing, ready, and delivered. So go have a for loop, go through each stage, and simulate that each stage is taking some 5 seconds or something. And then what are we doing here? We are retrieving that order associated with order id, and orders is again a global map, so all of this will be done inside like a mutex log. Get that order. If that order id is not present, you need to break. In this case, I don't think you need this, because we are spawning it from this create order method, so it will always be there. So I don't think we need this if condition. So okay, have a mutex lock, retrieve it, and then update the stage status of the stage, and then orders of order id is equal to order. Okay, whatever new stage is there, that order is updated, right? So again add it back into order, unlock. uh, yeah, okay, and we have one print statement also. I think this should be fine. If there is any error, we can later debug it. So let's try to run this server, see if it works. Oh, we haven't inputted any packages. uh, I don't think. Yeah, gin and uuid. Yeah, now we have all the packages. Let's see if the server runs. Declared and not used. 111. Oh, okay, that's why it was asking me to break, because I had declared it. So what if I just remove it? Will it work? Yeah, the server started. It is supporting these three endpoints: menu, order, and order id. Okay, these three endpoints, and it's supporting these handlers. Now let's open Postman. So let's open Postman and create this endpoint, call this endpoints. So localhost slash menu. I basically had this endpoint before, but let me paste it again just to show you. So get request localhost 8080 menu slash menu will give us the menu: cafe latte, uh, cafe mocha, americano, and cafe americano. Okay, these two seem same only, but we can change it in the code. But yeah, these are the four menu items that we have. We are getting it using get request. Now let's create an order. So order, and then okay, yeah, let me again do it. So basically have a JSON, and JSON will take coffee coffee ID. Let me place a order for mocha to post request. Let's send it. Now it created a new order ID for mocha. Current status is pending. Order time also it gave. So now let's check the status. So take this order ID and let's check the status. Status is again a get request. Get request. This one, yeah, we got that order JSON, and here if you see the status is already delivered because our our sleep functionality, basically, like if you go back to the code, our sleep functionality was for a very small amount of time. So that's why as soon as we make the status call, it was already delivered. But anyway, it is just a simulation. But the whole point of it is for you to understand the structure of how to use gin. So I hope you understood that gin.default to by default to initialize logging and recovery, and this is how you create endpoints and handlers using gin. So slash menu and handlers, and then these are some of the methods. For every handler you input gin.context, and then you basically sort of use those methods associated with the context. And yeah, I also wanted to show you some concurrency. So we are spawning a go routine here to simulate order processing, and then we are handling the go routine here. And since we also have like a global variable which is a map orders, we need to make it thread safe using this mutex order mux. So that's it for today's, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and sort of understood critical concept regarding HTTP server. If you have any doubts, comment down below, and also comment on what new videos you want to see. Thank you so much for watching my YouTube video. Please subscribe.